I'm Charlotte. Now, just after Christmas, I had to isolate. I'd caught COVID and I was heavily pregnant, so I had to keep away from my husband and 3-year-old son. And that was really difficult because not only had I got COVID, which was difficult to kind of navigate, but also because I had to keep away from my little boy who'd stand at my bedroom door every night and go, "Mommy, can you play with me? Mommy, can you come and give me a cuddle? Mommy, can you come and put me to bed?" And I had to say no. And then the next morning it'd be, "Mommy, can you come out yet? Mommy, come on." And he was getting really upset. And after a week of isolating, I then had to go into hospital to give birth. Now, what should have actually taken a day or two ended up with me being in the hospital for over a week. Now, that was really hard because I was away from my little boy for over 2 weeks. And even though we were FaceTiming every day and catching up, it wasn't the same as being together in person. Now, my mum and dad were looking after him, and they were looking after him brilliantly, and he was having a great time. But slowly, as the days would go on, my mum would phone me and tell me how he just was becoming less of himself. He just wasn't himself at all. When I got home from the hospital with the baby, my little boy ran in and he was so excited. He couldn't wait to see me. He was running around the living room like a little puppy. He threw his arms around me, gave me kisses and cuddles. But what I hadn't realised was how important it was for us to see each other. You see, seeing each other is more than a visual experience. It's actually a connection. And that's a really important part of any relationship. You see, when we feel seen and when we feel connected to, it motivates us, it energises us, it validates us, it makes us feel seen. And that's a really important part of who we are as humans. Inwardly, we all crave to be seen, to be connected with, because love sees us, love connects with us. Just like my son was desperate to spend time with me because he knew that I see his needs. He knows that I can meet those needs the best I absolutely can. And even if I can't take away pain when he hurts himself, I can be there to walk with him through that and to comfort him. And that's such an important part of who we are as humans. We want to know that we're seen and validated and that someone's there to walk with us through those times and those seasons. And in return, he feels seen and loved and the fullness that that offers to him. So does God see me? Well, that's a really great question. In the Bible, there's a story of a lady called Hagar. Now, Hagar is a slave, a foreigner and a woman. She lives in the household of Sarah and Abraham, and she's pregnant with Abraham's child. You see, Sarah, who was the master's wife, Abraham's wife, was unable to have children of her own. So Hagar has the child for her. However, Hagar has run away into the desert at this point in the story because Sarah has become so jealous of her slave that she's made her life a bit of a nightmare. Hagar had arrived at a well in the desert and she was alone and she was scared. She'd got nowhere to go. And here at this well, an angel appears that God has sent. And he says to Hagar, "Hagar, don't be afraid. You're going to have a son. His name's going to be Ishmael. And you are going to have more descendants than the stars in the sky." Wow. Here's Hagar, a woman who is just such an outcast that's just so looked over. Actually, until this point in the story, doesn't even have a name. This is the first point where we hear her name. And an angel is calling her by name and telling her she has a hope for her future. And Hagar declares, "You are the God who sees me," or a name called El Roy that we call God. Wow, what an amazing feeling to know that God sees me. God sees you too. And that's a great feeling to know that you are seen by God, that he validates you, he loves you, he wants to energize you. God not only saw Hagar that day, he wanted to give her a hope. And although she had to go back to her situation, back to Sarah and Abraham, where nothing had changed, he had given her a hope for the future. And he wanted her to know that he saw her, even though she wasn't somebody who would usually in society be seen by God. God wanted her to know that he did see her indeed. That connection at the well motivated her to go back to her situation and have hope and have peace that things in the future could be better. And God wants to do that for you today. He wants to encourage you to know that he sees you. So just like I could see my son when I got back from the hospital and we reconnected and it just changed his energy and everything about him, God wants to do the same for you. So whatever situation you are facing, He sees you. And maybe this is just a piece of encouragement for some of you to know today, that maybe there's not an angel at the well, but maybe it is that as simple as for you to know that God sees you in your situation right now. There is never a time when he's not loving you, protecting you, and guarding you. So just like what he did for Hagar, he can do for you too. He draws close to you, he sees you, and he loves you. So if you've seen us today and you've enjoyed what we've said, don't forget to drop us a hi in the comments, and we'll love to catch up with you again on another week. Noah, do you want to be on video in a minute? Yeah, come on then, come see Mummy. Can you do a run? Run all the way to Mummy.